So what exactly is this thing? And guess who it's made by?
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
Alright everybody, welcome back to the channel. And today our guest of honor is this amp right here. And I've been wanting to make this video for a long time, so stay put, watch this thing. If you clicked it, thought it was interesting, we don't get a lot of viewers on the vintage, old school car audio stuff. So now check it out. If you're here, this thing's got a cool story. And if this video kind of jumps back and forth on some stuff, it's because I'm shooting the intro after the entire video, because I kind of put everything together and I kept learning stuff and finding out more info on this amp here. Just as time went by, it really has kind of an interesting story. And it's similar to what goes on these days, but this was the early days of car audio stuff that was really starting to ramp up. So this is an amp. No, Crutchfield didn't make amps. So Crutchfield apparently started making amps about 84, 85, and this would be their second series of amps that they made. And these, in fact, were made by PPI, okay? So this is a 3050 PPI amp. 100%. PPI was making customer amps up until, I think somebody said the art series, and then they stopped doing customer stuff and focused on their own stuff. So this thing's cool. It is 4-channel, 4x50. It is a CR-50x4, and this thing is beautiful. I love this thing. I mean, the blue anodizing on it is really cool. I don't know if you guys have seen the amps, I forget what they're called. They're a something 1000, and they were made by PPI, and they were a little bit smaller than this, but they were really just a 100-watt 2-channel amp. I believe they were probably half of this. And same, you could get them in different colors, but a lot of them had this cool blue anodizing on it. So our good friend Derek, Big D Wiz, pulled out of his archive some cool information from the catalog at Crutchfield that these things came with. And here is the price and all the stuff on it from that catalog. So these amps were available, I believe, from about 88 to about 91. And I believe this amp is from around 88 or 89. And I've had it for 20 years. And probably the first 16 years or so, I had this amp. I never even fired it up. It literally just sat in a shelf in a closet and was put away. A buddy of mine had come across some stuff and said, hey, I got these amps around, you interested in them? And I didn't know what to think of this thing. And we opened it up. I'm going to tell you my first impression of this thing. I was not impressed. But so we've got an opening video look inside this thing. We're going to dyno this thing. We're going to check it out. So these things are cool, got a cool history, a good build, and I think you're gonna find that this is really a quality amp. And this thing wasn't cheap. As you can see, it was $279 back in the late 80s, which that was not a cheap amplifier. So let's go along for the ride. Let's enjoy this thing, and let's check it out. It's the easiest of amps to crack open. We've got all the wires come through the side here in grommets. So you gotta be careful pulling these things out. All right, so we take a look inside this thing, and there is not a whole lot of anything going on here. Looks like we got one cap on the input, two caps on the output, a little transformer. And if you look on the board, it says 3050. Here are, I don't know what they are. Can't really see what those see. These are 2200 microfarad, 50 volt. Don't even have a brand on those things. We got some, you guys can see what all the transformers and MOSFETs and stuff are. Pretty typical stuff. I mean, this thing is a pretty cool amp, but it's really just cool and simple on this thing. You know, I don't know. Got DIN inputs. Those were common back in those days. Nothing's glued down on the board. It should be, but pretty clean, pretty simple. You know, if this thing craps out, looks like it'd be pretty easy to fix. You know, for a 4-channel amp, this thing's got a lot of transistors in it, for sure. Oh my God, and they're just, they got some sort of, obviously they got the heat paste, and it looks like some sort of thin isolator underneath the transistors, but they're not screwed down or anything. I think they're just using the paste to hold them down, which is kind of interesting. So this might be a good candidate to go through and replace all the paste to keep it nice and cool. But anyways, super clean. At first I was really put off on this amp, you know, because there's about 3 inches of space there on the end of it that's just looks like dead space. But so this thing's 15 inches by a little over 8 inches wide. You know, I mean, it's pretty par on course for a, you know, 50 watt, you know, by 4-channel amp. I mean, I have lots of them that are this similar spec. So you know what? We're gonna stick this thing on the bench. We're gonna hook it up. We're gonna run it. Why not run the dyno and see what it does? All right, so we got it on the dyno, and we're running the rear channels through the dyno first. 4 ohms, stereo. So this is going to be times 2 channels. This will be just 1 channel, but we're running 2 channels. So here we go. Let's see what she'll do. We got 42 watts. All right. Let's go ahead and run the front channel. All right, we got the front channels loaded up, and we'll give it a whirl. 42 watts, exactly the same. All right, well, I've had some trouble trying to run this thing bridged. I'm not sure if I've got the right mode or the right wire combinations or what. So there's a switch on this thing to go two channel to 4-channel mode. And I'm not sure which way is what, and I'm not sure which wires are supposed to be the bridge. I'm pretty sure that it's left plot positive, right negative, and that's what I did. And I was only getting like 52 watts bridged, so something wasn't quite right. What, you think I wasn't gonna run this thing on some old school subwoofers?